Welcome, everybody, to this month's Turning the Tide, listening to the voices of Africa. And we're in the month of April. Remember, Turning the Tide is a 12-part series focusing on the voices of African surveyors throughout this year, because we want to get connected and stay connected. And each month I've been suggesting a thought leader or a book, if you like. And this time it is Parag Khanna. The future is Asian. More of that in a moment. But this episode 4 is about winners on the global stage in the age of disruption, specifically advances in technology and connectivity. And I'm in conversation this month with Stephen Djaba, who I think has consistently shown leadership and adaptivity. He's a Ghanaian CEO with capabilities that demonstrate both his prowess with people, processes, and technology. So, Stephen, please say hello to our audience.
Yes, hello, Diane, and hello, people of Africa. I'm happy to join Diane on this conversation. It's been lovely. For some time, we've not been able to see one another, but it's very good. Through the medium of virtual, I can now have a very good conversation with Diane and looking at what is happening on our continent, Africa.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you so much. And what we're going to cover together is, the acronym of Africa, the aspirations, the fundamentals, your reflections and your initiatives with partners, and of course, your capacity to change. And I'm so looking forward to you touching base about your charitable foundation. And as I mentioned, that I always like to have a reference for you guys and gals out there. And the reference I'm going to use this month is The Future is Asian by Parag Khanna. And that's the book. Excellent. All about connectivity around the globe, but specifically about the rising importance of Asia.
Okay.
It's easy to pinpoint the disruptive global trends, the demographics, urbanization, technology, but the key is understanding them. That is more challenging as to how you understand them, because they play out so differently across the world. And I'm just thinking about the advances in technology, automation, artificial intelligence, sensor technology, Internet of Things. We're all shifting towards a machine-centric world. And this makes me think, Stephen, you've been on missions, business missions to Asia. Can you highlight the lessons learned in disruptive technology that impacts upon our land profession, particularly in West Africa?
Yes, Diane, thank you. I've been in a lot of nations to Asia countries like Singapore and other places like Malaysia, China, and other places you can think about in Asia, which has given me a lot of exposure and a lot of knowledge about what to be done in our land in Africa, especially in West Africa and Ghana. For example, looking at Singapore being a very small country, and they've been able to use the land that they have very wisely through technology of geospatial. You can see how they have cleaned some portions of the sea. They have been able to use it very well. And in Africa, we already have a lot of land spreading, but how to use it, we have a lot of slums that it's affecting our land development and others in the city development. So you come to Ghana, Accra, for example, there are a lot of slums that we needed an experience of knowledge, how they've been able to use the technology with the land administration, making the city so beautiful, and everybody has no share. We could easily also adapt to such technology to be able to see what we can also have in Ghana. And for example, in China, they've been able to have geospatial city. And you could imagine how they've been able to use the technology to be able to make the city grow very effective and very attractive to tourists. And same, per those knowledge activities in Ghana, we could make Ghana being the center of the world so beautiful to attract a lot of people to our city, Accra. And that's a lesson that I believe is very good for me. And I should be able to see how we can impact that to the generation that we have today.
Yeah, and there are challenges, there are opportunities, but in today's fast-paced world, the importance of being connected across continents, in that case, Asia, and you've been there an awful lot, but it's the speed at which innovation is occurring that gives us the opportunities. And I'm glad you mentioned cities because technology remains at the heart of disruption for cities. As economies see a rapid transition towards various comms, telecoms, co-working spaces, etc. So do you see this playing out as you engage with young surveyors in your region?
Yes, Diane, thank you. With those kind of experience that we have and my movement because of business from Ghana to the rest of West Africa, like Nigeria, Cote d'Ivoire, Senegal, it gives us an opportunity to also meet some of the young surveyors, especially when we're in Senegal, to be able to see what the joy they have to see some kind of challenges from other parts of the world that we have experienced. And you can see what they are also trying to do to be able to come up with creativity and innovative of using the technology that we have today to see how they can implement that in our local communities. And it's very interesting to see, for example, in Ghana, where we have a lot of illegal mining that is affecting a lot of land degradation in many countries in our forests. And you can see how young surveyors, some young surveyors have taken upon themselves trying to come out with a research or what to be done to be able to stop this chaos that is affecting our land development. So it's something that you share with them. You can see the kind of what they also have in mind to bring on board. And when you are interacting with them, it's very interesting and it gives you more challenge for you as a growing technology person also to see what can you do to also help them to be able to fix the problem that we are having today. And looking at from the background, from the Asia side, how technology has been used. In Africa, sometimes the technology, getting to the old age before we begin to see them also in our place as a new. But it is very interesting. For example, see how drone technology is coming up. And the young people today have grown in the interest of using drone to fly over a small community so they can map out and come up with a nice spatial planning for such communities. And it's amazing and very interesting for you to see how young people, and that gives us a hope that surveying is definitely not going to die. It is really going to grow from state to state.
Well, I'm going to get on to that actually, because I'd be interested to hear your further views. But before I do, because I know that technology has always been your driver. And so I'd like to just quickly focus on the rise of new data sources and analytical methods, because basically data is everywhere now. And, it's going beyond the traditional geospatial data sets for visualization and analysis. So I guess, the new geospatial trends are associated with mainstream advancements in technology. And there's been a really interesting bit of work, Future Trends in Geospatial Information Management report by UNGGIM. And I know you're quite aware of GGIM. And this report captures technology and non-technological developments and signposts opportunities for change. So I'm just going to bring up this slide from the UNGGIM report. And I know people out there can't perhaps read it, but you can freeze this screen and maybe blow it up and have a look yourself. But Stephen, can I just ask you to pluck one or two that you think are real change drivers? What would you speak to?
Yeah, Diane, with the UNGGIM, it's fortunate for me, I was part of some of the meetings that they held in China 2 years ago. And it was very expository for me to see what kind of kind of technology that your spatial information management is helping to do in terms of technological development, and looking at what is happening in Ghana and other parts in West Africa. For example, looking at in Ghana, we've been able to use the technology in our street naming and also in a lot of addressing, which the vice president of the country has taken upon himself as his main concern and a project, which he's working with the local government to be sure that every street in Ghana is being dated and managed, and houses are being numbered. And it's today, he himself walk on the street and he makes sure he's part of the team that is working to put those signs. That will be able to help in location and in management of people. In our recent election in Ghana, GIS played a very good role. They were able to use the geospatial information to correlate the election results, and they can display it in the public, and everybody can see when they mention the area, everything is shown with pictures. That was able to give a lot of confidence to the people. And through that, now we are using the same technology for our population census. And in 2 weeks from now, Ghana is going to start a new population census, and the base or the platform is using geospatial. And it's very interesting to see how young surveyors that they have recruited into the system is using this kind of technology. And I see the same thing in Nigeria, how they're also using the GIS geospatial in their transport system today. It's very interesting. I just spoke to somebody in Cote d'Ivoire the other day. They're also looking at how they are going to introduce this technology in managing all their street and their transport. So it's very growing, interesting to our side of this country. And it's going to make Africa a very unique place. And as all the countries in Africa embrace into this technology, within the next few years, the whole Africa is going to be on the same framework.
I'm so glad you mentioned all of that, because there was a really interesting article reported recently in Geospatial World, and it was headed Intelligence for Intelligent Businesses. And that was all about the geospatial industry revolving around location and how location data can be used to provide services and amenities in the public and private sector. So, of course, as the years have gone on since then, the adoption and application of locational intelligence has continued to expand. But I suppose, you started talking about, because I was going to ask you, how do you see our sector contributing to businesses operating in Ghana?
Yes, thank you. With in Ghana, there was this developed partnership with my company with Sweet Survey some years back. And it was very interesting. Sweet Survey was invited to Ghana, and they also counter invited us to Sweden. So we tried to understand the difference we saw on the street. So when we were working with Street Survey, they realized that most of the streets were not numbered, and it was difficult to move around. So when we compared to the visit we had in Sweden, we realized there was a gap, and the gap was to be able to do likewise. So we decided to develop a project we called Urban Management Land Information System in Street called UMLS. And Street Survey partnered with Geotech and were able to develop a concept, which the World Bank at the end got interest into the concept that we did a pilot. And the result was fantastic. And World Bank decided to finance some part of it to be able to expand this. And the idea of the project was to be able to help the local government to be able to capture every household, every street, every business in the cities and the communities, so that the local government will use it for management of their system, because it's going to help to improve the tax system from the local government. And indeed, the results was very positive. When we did a pilot, it was able to move the local government, their deficit from just 20% to about 60% just within a shortest time. And it was increasing their revenue. So indeed, the government got interest about the project and they have to now nationalize it, which currently is even in the process of trying to help every street in Ghana be named. This concept, which the vice president have touched on the street naming. And I will call the president, the vice president of Ghana, digital man, because he wants to digitize and put every aspect of business model.
That's amazing. And do you know, just listening to you, I'm so intrigued as to what led you on your path of global outreach, across continents and regions. Just really briefly, what's been your motivation for doing all this?
Because I started as a mine surveyor, I got also interested in the International Society of Mine Surveyors. And they also met a lot of people who were also coaching me into this. So that puts me into the global interest in how to learn more. And through that, international ISPRS also came on board, which that also currently for the past 20 years, I've become the representative of ISPRS also in Ghana. And that has also put me into the global perspective. And the kind of knowledge I gained from these organizations has challenged me for me to be able to put whatever knowledge I have back into my own country and other parts of West Africa. So it helps me also to move within the West Africa, the business I do with the international partners, Sokia Topcon. So they also move within the West Africa region. So it helps me to take this opportunity, working for them and working for Survey as well. So in every country I go, I try to get in touch with the survey generals and then we discuss.
Yeah, and there's lots of initiatives that you've done in partnership. And, I'm thinking of the cause stations and the AFREF rollout that you've been establishing. So how can organizations and businesses such as yours advance their geospatial maturity in the coming years? And I'm thinking of the young surveyors out there, how can it help the young surveyors start maturing their businesses as well?
Yes, thank you. Young surveyors are very fancy of any new technology. And when first time we met in South Africa in 1997 with John Richard Wenacott, when they were establishing the AFREF, that brought up the interest of this. And I became a rep at that time for Ghana. And my involvement also got me an interest to see what can I replicate in Ghana. So quickly, my partners gave me a support from Australia, and I was able to establish a partnership with the University of Science and Technology. And then we established a 4 stations for them. And then also with the survey and mapping division, we donated some receivers for them that we were able to help them to establish this core. The challenge at that time was that the transformative parameters in Ghana was not there. We were using an old Clark 1880. So the model was difficult to use a GPS and be able to fix. So my partner, Sokia, linked me up with an institution in Australia. So what I would say to the young people coming today is one, to be very confident of themselves, be proactive, be very innovative, be able to grab the new technology and own it. If you just see it and you don't own it, you can't make anything with it. But the moment I see any new technology, the way I receive it, I own it like it's my own. And then I'm able to translate it back into the society. And that has been able to push me to do many things that I do today. And that has pushed me, like many people see me as their mentor.
I am now going to turn to your foundation, the Stephen Djaba Foundation that you've set up, because youngsters of today, are the geospatial professionals of tomorrow. And you've actually targeted the really young ones. Because if we don't, then we're not going to have a supply chain, I suppose, coming in. And, it's really hard, isn't it, to make the real young ones realize how important geospatial data and geospatial technologies are. They are indispensable in today's highly developed societies, yet we still struggle to make people realize what our profession does. And it's quite worrying that the number of school leavers that choose to study geomatics is way, way down. So, as I say, you're trying to address this. Can you tell us all briefly about your foundation or charity?
Yeah, Diane, thank you. Being in South Africa, realized that some institutions were closing down because they were not getting people to enroll to get to surveying profession. So coming back to Ghana, and I realized that it's also could happen in Ghana. So I thought of why can't I come up with a foundation that young people from the primary schools, secondary schools, with my association with Sokia and Silver Compasses, I can be able to get donation from them to be able to use to go to the primary school, trying to help young people to develop their career into a survey world so that I'll be able to have a small club within these institutions, visit them, teach them the geospatial technology, give them some tools so they themselves gradually, they could be mapping their own campuses or their houses. And if you have 4 or 5 people living in a community, they can map their house, link with the road, and you help them how to create a GIS of it and a map. So when they want to move from one house to another, they could be able to use the map. And that is the knowledge I had. And I decided to form Stephen Djaba Foundation, which I've initiated. And some of the schools have started with them already. I have donated some equipment to them as well. And I'm looking forward to broaden it to wider communities. What I want to focus is to see how I can get those schools in the rural areas. And I'm trying in that I'm targeting myself that if possible, by next year when we are meeting in South Africa, I'll be able to have one of those young people to be able to come up with a project that can sponsor that young person to attend that conference in South Africa.
Oh,
and this
fabulous. Stephen,
yes.
That's fabulous. I think that everybody will agree with me who's listened. As a CEO of Geotech Limited, you're a business strategist, a digital data and technology visionary, and actually an African thought leader and a talent master through your foundation. So, Stephen, I really find you enlightening and you positively influence as you lead people through change as an enabler for growth. So I really have appreciated listening to you and hearing what you say. But before we all wave goodbye, I just saw back in Geospatial World magazine, they've got an Excellence Award 2021, and nominations are open for this award. So if you know, you people out there know any recently completed geospatial project that is out of the ordinary, perhaps it's solving a critical socio and economic issue, please do look at Geospatial World Excellent Awards. The nominations have to be in by June 2021. And the selected projects will go to the Geospatial World Forum in 2021, which is to be held in October in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. So I'm going to go now to this screen because we are coming to our close. Stephen, if I can ask you to say goodbye.
Yes, Diane, thank you for the opportunity for having this kind of conversation. And it's very lovely. It has been an opportunity to see you virtually, and other people will be hearing us. And I look forward to connecting to May 2021 for the episode 5, which is yet for you to show out. And I'm looking forward to see some of my colleagues that for COVID-19 sake, we have not been able to see ourselves face to face, hugging, which is no more. And we are looking forward to see what kind of technology available on the market that we are going to grab to be able to use and make Africa so proud. And now I want to take this opportunity to say bye-bye in Ghana. I didn't say Akwaba in the beginning, but in the end, I say goodbye and bye-bye and see you very shortly.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for listening. There'll be another episode in May. Keep watching this space. Bye, everyone.